Shalom. First off, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahawah Chakodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS who have taught us this word and teach us this word today. And I want to give a salutation unto the elect of the nation of Israel. This is the brother Yatazak Bob with the GMS Nebraska camp. This is GMS Endeavor. And in this lesson, what I want to get into is this article here from BusinessWire.com titled Synchron to Achieve First Native Brain-Computer Interface Integration with iPhone, iPad, and Apple Vision Pro. This is from May 13th of this year. And, what we're reading about is Esau taking, further steps in merging man and machine. This is further steps in what Esau wants to do in rolling out the mark of the beast, which is the chip. And one of the main aspects of what Esau will be doing when he rolls out that chip is, like I mentioned, he's going to merge humans with technology. It's going to get into it in this article. So without further ado, let's go on and get into it. It says Apple's new BCI human interface device protocol marks the creation of a new input category powered by thought, enabling hands-free, voice-free digital control through Synchron's BCI system. Synchron, a category-defining brain-computer interface company, today announced it will be the first BCI company to achieve native integration with the new BCI human interface device profile announced by Apple on May 13th. Now, when it mentions BCI or brain-computer interface, that's just another form of the mark of the beast. This image that you see here with this with this wiring, they're implanting this onto people's brains, so that they can control different technologies with their thoughts. This is just another form of the chip. As you can see here, it has a illustration of it where up there, they have the Synchron device implanted in their brain, and it's using Bluetooth to where it seamlessly reads your thoughts, and you can control the different Bluetooth powered devices around you with your thoughts. If we read on here in this paragraph, it says this marks a major milestone in accessibility and neurotechnology, where users implanted with Synchron's BCI can control iPhone, iPad, and Apple Vision Pro directly with their thoughts without the need for physical movement or voice commands. And we saw an example of this. I did a video on it, I'd say about a month ago, where you had the man that was paralyzed in his living room, and he had the Apple Vision Pro on, and it was linked to his Synchron device, the same device that's here in this picture. And with that technology, he was able to, text his loved ones. He was able to, control his music. He was able to feed his dog with the machine that he had. He was able to, basically do everything that you would be able to do if you were able to walk and move around, turn your lights on and off, turn your fan on. He was able to do that without moving a muscle. And it was all with this technology here. And so this article is furthermore going into that, but this is the miracles of the beast that the scriptures speak about in Revelation chapter 13. And as a matter of fact, we can go ahead and get that real fast. Revelation chapter 13, verse 14. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. Right? And those miracles, this is an example of those miracles right here. The fact that using nothing but your mind and your thought, you will be able to control things around the room, or you will be able to make someone who can't move, can't speak, live as if they were a regular person, as if they had none of these ailments. That's a miracle. and that this technology is going to deceive people into believing that this is something good, that this is something good for humanity, but this is wickedness at the end of the day. We're gonna read into it a bit more. I don't want to jump the gun, and it's gonna all come together, through the spirit. So it says, with the announcement of the new protocol from Apple, BCI HID for short, neural interfaces are now formally recognized as a native input category coming to Apple devices. This advancement enables hands-free, voice-free digital access for individuals with motor impairments such as ALS, stroke, or spinal cord injury. And why is it being called, miracles in the sight of the beast? Because Yahweh Shai was doing, miracles himself. And what were the miracles that he was that he was doing? If someone couldn't see, he will restore their sight. If they were unable to walk, he made it to where they could walk. If they couldn't speak, he made it to where they could speak. Those were miracles that Yahweh Shai and the disciples were doing. And Esau is mimicking those miracles with his technology. This is going into 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 4, that Esau is sitting in the seat as the Most High, basically calling himself the Most High. Where with this technology, Esau is trying to mimic the power of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, and rival against them. And that's why this, that's just one aspect of why this technology is so wicked, because, Esau is this is Esau warring against the Lord. But let's read on. It says, Synchron's BCI system will seamlessly integrate with Apple's built-in accessibility features, including switch control, giving users an intuitive way to use their devices and laying the foundation for a new generation of cognitive input technologies. And this beast system, this mark of the beast technology rather is becoming more and more mainstream. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the lesson, this is just another step in what Esau is trying to do within his agenda, because now it is being merged with Apple technology. And most people out here got iPhones, and what Esau is trying to do is make it to where this technology can seamlessly pair with your iPhone, with whatever Apple technology you have. If you go ahead and get this Synchron implant, then you could connect it to your phone and you can control your phone, without needing to pick it up. And the thing is, Esau already has it to where, people are addicted to using their phone. Your phone's always in your hand. You're always scrolling. You're always using it. Well, now Esau is going to make it to where you can use it and scroll on your phone and do all the things that you're doing without even needing to pick it up. You can, see your phone screen, as if it's in front of you, but it's through this brain computer interface technology. It's going to be similar to if you've ever used like a VR headset. Like the I forget what the brand is called. It's not Oculus. That's one of them, but it's another one that I've used myself, to where it's like the VR headset where you can, it's as if it's in front of you. You have the screen in front of you. You're in your room, but you can see whatever game that you're playing, or you can surf, social media on this VR headset. And what Esau is doing is where you won't even need the headset to do these things. You're going to be able to see it in front of you with this brain computer interface, with or the RFID chip, So let's read on. It says, this marks a defining moment for human device interaction. BCI is more than an accessibility tool. It's a next generation interface layer, and they're basically saying this is the next step for people. This, while, we once had, had, landline phones, and then, we went into having, what do you call it? I can't think of the mobile phones. Then we went into having mobile phones, and now we have smartphones. Well, the next step after smartphones is this technology. It says Apple is helping to pioneer a new interface paradigm where brain signals are formally recognized alongside touch, voice, and typing. With BCI recognized as a native input for Apple devices, there are new possibilities for people living with paralysis and beyond. It says, let me see. I want to get down to a good spot. Let me see. Slack. I just want to get to the meat of it. Yeah, let's read this right here. It says, for people who've lost nearly all movement, implantable brain-computer interface technology is a breakthrough full of possibility, said Blair Casey. Says which supports people. Salakia, let's go down to it. Today's announcement represents a significant advancement in both accessibility and innovation. Apple is not only a global leader in creating accessible products, but in championing new standards for accessibility that improve lives in meaningful ways. This isn't just about building tools, it's about redefining what's possible for people with disabilities. So like we went into already in Revelation 13 and 14, this is a part of those miracles, and this is going to, this mark of the beast is going to be more than just buying and selling, as we read here in Revelation chapter 13. That is going to be one of the main parts of the mark, but it's going to be more than just buying and selling. It's going to be more than just a payment system. This mark is going to be, the new standard of life. This is going to be what you need to integrate into society. So let's read in Revelation chapter 13 of what's coming, alongside, this technology that we're seeing being integrated. Let's start back at verse 14. It says, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. In that image, this is Esau's way of life. This is Esau's image, contrary to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai's image and how life should be. This is Esau perpetuating those Greco-Roman ideals onto the people, such as democracy, such as these religions and things of the sort, and this such as the LGBTQ agenda. It's Esau's ideas and philosophies, being pushed upon the people. And let's read on. It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And so what Esau is doing is that he is what Esau is going to do is he is going to make you have to align yourself with his image, with what Esau says is right and wrong. And what is going to be a very integral part of Esau doing that is something that we see going on in the earth today in China, to where you have the social credit score, where the Chinese population is totally surveilled. There's cameras everywhere, and if you aren't surveilled by those cameras, you're surveilled online when with what you're with what websites you're visiting, with what you comment on certain things, what you consume, the different places you go. All that has an impact on your social credit score. And if you are doing things that the Chinese government deems as good behavior, then your credit score goes up. But if the government deems that it's bad behavior, it goes down. And what does that have to do with the image of the beast speaking? Well, that system of things that's in China, Esau is going to have that, worldwide. Esau is going to have that to where everybody that's using the internet, you're going to be tracked about what you're listening to, what you think about certain things, what you're, how you feel about certain things. And if it isn't aligned with his image, with his way of life, then you'll be penalized for it. You won't have certain because with that social credit system, if your score is too low, then you aren't able to do certain things. You aren't able to buy certain things. You aren't able to enter certain spaces. A good example of this is that Black Mirror episode Nosedive, to where it was the same thing with the social credit score. If your social credit score was low, the woman that was the main character in the episode, she couldn't get a rental car. She couldn't get on her flight. She had to get lower quality stuff because her score wasn't high enough. And that's how that image of the beast is going to speak, because people are going to be Esau is going to try to force people to live in a certain fashion that is aligned with his way of life to integrate into society. And is going to and it says that if you don't worship that image of the beast, which is going to be living aligned in Esau's image, it says that you will be killed. Now, it's not always meaning that you will actually be killed, even though that's going to be a part of it. But when we get into that word killed, it's Strong's G 615, which is to kill in any way, whatever, to destroy, to allow to perish. But let's get into the root of this word, just to get straight to the point. Strong's G 575, which is a separation, a local separation after verbs of motion from a place. So basically, you're going to be separated from society. If your credit score is low, if you aren't worshiping the image of the beast, and you are ostracized, you aren't able to do certain things, you aren't able to get into school or get a job or do these different things because you aren't aligned with Esau's image, then if you can't fit into society, you're basically being killed. If you aren't able to buy or sell anything or go anywhere, then that's that separation that it's speaking about, which is what it means by killed. So if we read on in verse 16, it says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And this technology that we read about, this BCI, this Synchron, this isn't just going to be for people who, quote unquote, need it medically. This isn't just going to be for paraplegics or people who can't, see or move or nothing like that. Esau wants everybody to get this technology, which is why we see cash being phased out. We see digital systems being integrated everywhere. This is why we see, at Whole Foods, now you can scan your hand over things to buy things. That's gradualism for eventually you're going to scan your hand with that chip inside you over things. And what it's all about is that Esau wants to control the people, and he's going to come with different forms of manipulation, different forms of, basically, making this seem like you need to get it, making this basically boxing, the population in to get this technology because he wants control over the people. Once you get this chip, what it gives Esau access to it is your body. You have basically, signed yourself over as property of Esau. Because when you get into the word, the Greek word for mark is what? Strong's G 5480, which is charagma. It says a stamp and imprinted mark. Of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of the followers of the Antichrist. We're still going off there, because there's many Antichrists. An Antichrist is just anyone who is against Yahweh Shai. Really, let's just read on. It says the mark branded upon horses. And when you mark a horse, when you brand a horse, you're basically branding that horse to show who that horse belongs to. Just like when a slave would be marked in the Roman Empire, you would put that awl in the slave's ear to show, who that slave belonged to. or not just the Roman Empire, shoot, in slavery in America. That was just you mark a person, showing who they belong to, and that's what this chip is going to do in its function. When you get that mark, you are branding yourself as property of Esau. You're basically saying, I belong to Esau, not the Most High. And so this is what Esau wants to do. And Esau is gradually, getting to this system. We see these different things being set up in our lives, and it's becoming more and more mainstream. This move with them basically, making their technology, with Synchron making their technology accessible with Apple products is a part of that gradualism, with this becoming commonplace, and with this becoming commonplace to people, because Apple is the top, phone that is bought. 9 times out of 10, a person is going to have an iPhone, and so this is going to be a thing to where it's not going to be weird to see this technology, see people, linking this technology to their phones. It's not going to be, unheard of or anything like that. Now, I want to grab a point here when it says that, you're going to receive this mark in your right hand or in your forehead, just to show that this technology right here, this is a part of the mark of the beast, because like they said, they want to put it in their brains. This is a brain computer interface. When you get into this word forehead here, it is the Greek word metapon, which is the space between the eyes, the forehead. So basically, your brain. When you actually, no, we don't need this right here, but metapon is, the space between the eyes, the forehead. That's basically the chip being put into your brain. And for people who don't want it in their brain, or they don't get it to help them with any ailments they have, then you'll just get it in your hand, and you'll be able to scan that chip to buy things, to get into different places. And Esau is going to close in life to where you have to get this to fit in, just like we read about, to where if you don't worship that image of the beast, you'll be killed. Because if you want to go to school, if you want to go to the hospital, if you want to, do things that you need to do within society, then everything is going to work under this system that Esau is going to implement onto the people. And if you don't have the chip, then you won't be able to operate within that system. And it's going to make it very hard to live. And this is what is going to break a lot of people to get this technology. Because the first wave of people who get it is going to be people who are wooed by it and think that, that's what they should be doing. But you're going to have a lot of people who ain't messing with this technology, that's not even in the know, that don't even know the truth. They're just going to know that it's off, and they ain't going to get it. But once, the squeeze starts to happen, and you start to see how hard it is to live without this technology, that's when you're going to see people starting to get it. And that's going to be the next wave. But it says, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So that's all I wanted to get into with this lesson. Just wanted to get into this article and just show, how we're getting closer and closer to this prophecy in Revelation chapter 13 coming to pass. It's already coming to pass. We see, all the things that Revelation 13 speaks about in aspects already, but we're just waiting on these things becoming, mainstream. We're waiting on it becoming to where, it's rolling out in mass numbers, and we're almost there. We're getting closer and closer. So Lord's will, this lesson was edifying. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahawah Chakwadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles, the elders of GMS, and a salutation unto the elect. Shalom.